All right. I think I finally got this phone recording figured out. Get rid of some. I'm blind. Um, every I'm recording on my Pixel 3. Every video I've made on the Pixel has been the wrong orientation, and I've had to use either editing software or uh, YouTube. After you upload it to YouTube, you can go in and do some studio enhancement, classic version, HTML, hidden delete thing where it'll give you the option to rotate the video, and then it takes like 2 hours to process it again. Um, Sorry, there's something on my. And I think I finally got it figured out how I can record in the proper orientation without having to do all that. I did like two little 5-second test videos right before this. Um, but so this is an update. I don't really, I'm just rambling off the top of my head. What I'm doing is I'm procrastinating about homework. I'm a little bit burnt out on like I think I burnt myself out because I did all of the the CDL endorsement tests, and I did a lot of studying for that and a lot of research. So I've been doing a ton of reading and studying and memorization and stuff like that. And now the CDL school is really set up as like a crash course type thing. It's like a fast paced learning environment, and it is a lot of memorization stuff. I can see how this would be really hard for somebody new to the industry. I drove for 4 years previously, and so a lot of this stuff is just refresher. There are some new things, and then there are some things that don't really seem to have much of anything to do with driving, like whistleblower act stuff and the sex trafficking training, and like there's just tons and tons of it's like compliance training type stuff. And then we have to read through this book that I brought home. I think I mentioned it before. And I have homework assignments. I think I'm already done with all of, like, I'm caught up, but I'm trying to get ahead and get everything done because I have like a 10-page pre-trip to memorize. And I really want to learn the pre-trip properly this time. Last time I got into trucking, I drove for 4 years. And if you would have tested me 2 months outside of CDL school, I would not have been able to pass a DOT pre-trip test. I could do like I was going to use a vulgar word, like a half butted, like a mediocre pre-trip. I could do a pre-trip that was good enough to basically, yeah, I don't have any flat tires. My fluids are good. I don't see anything that's broken or damaged anywhere. All my lights are on. Like, I could do a decent pre-trip, a pre-trip that's basically good enough. But I wouldn't have been able to pass, a pre-trip inspection where they ask you, well, what's, the tread depth on the front and the back tires, and how much slack can you have in the brakes, and things like that. No, trailer's still got doors on it. The tires aren't flat. The lights come on. It's the tractor's running. Send it. We're rolling. But I want to learn the pre-trip properly this time. Learn how to, and I want to retain it this time. I want to learn it well enough that it's something I'm going to retain, because I'm going to own my own truck, hopefully. That's the whole plan. And I want to be able to tell when there's an issue with it. Because one of the big things about the pre-trip is catching things before they become big problems. So I really want to learn how to do it properly and what everything means. Not just, memorize what I need to pass the CDL test. Okay, I had like two things that I wanted to talk about before I talked about class today. One, okay, I think I mentioned the drug test situation. The DOT drug test is, I think, the only thing that I wasn't prepared for class. Oh, and I didn't know that I had to carry my medical certificate with me because DPS basically told me that wasn't a requirement. But they said that I might still be asked for it, so I should probably still carry it. And but the CDL school wants me to carry it with me at all times, even though they said the state of Oklahoma doesn't require it. If I get pulled over in the state of Oklahoma, they don't require that I have a medical certificate with me. But for they're my employer right now, basically. I'm driving under their authority, so if they tell me I've got to carry a medical certificate with me, then that's what I got to do. Other than that, my only other major concern right now is the drug test. There's no way that I could fail a drug test. I mean, that's just not possible. If I fail a drug test, there's something wrong with your test. I just haven't gotten the results back yet. I took the drug test last Wednesday. They set the expectation that it would be done by Friday. They said that it may possibly. They said it would take up to 3 days, and they said that since I was doing it late in the day on Wednesday, that there's a possibility that it might not be done by Friday. It might be Monday. I was like, all right, good, no, good deal, no big problem there. Well, it's Tuesday. Tuesday's over and done with. It didn't come in Monday. It didn't come in Tuesday. I called them Sunday. I called them Monday. I called them Tuesday. I think I called. No, I didn't call them last week. But Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, every day I've called them, and they have no record of it. They said they haven't gotten the results in, and what they started telling me on Sunday was that it could take up to 5 business days. So now Wednesday is the day that, like, it. They're saying is the latest it can possibly come in would be Wednesday. The problem with that, like, if it comes in Wednesday, that's fine. That's okay. The CDL school told me that I have to have it before I drive, and we start driving on Thursday. So as long as I have it by the, available to where I can have it Thursday morning before we start driving, then I'm good. So, I don't know. I'm afraid that it's going to come Wednesday and they're not going to have it. And then Thursday, I'm going to be like, okay, you had your 5 business days. What's going on? And then somebody's finally going to look into it and be like, oh, well, we never shipped it out because this, or this. I'm just really afraid that, like, they dropped the ball on it and nobody's really checking on it whenever I'm calling in and asking why in the world it's not in yet. They're just making up something to get me off the phone. That's what I'm afraid of. If they would just be upfront and honest with me on this, then I could go down to Concentra, and everybody else in my class went to Concentra, and they said they got the results back next day. I went to Access Medical, and it's just a cluster. Like, I don't even know what to say. I'm never going to Access Medical again for any DOT related stuff. They didn't know what a DOT medical was when I got there. They had to go search and find the forms online or on their website or something like that. Nobody knew what it was. When I asked them to do a DOT drug test, they had no idea what a DOT drug test was. I had to call CDL University and ask them what it was, and they said, just tell them it's a DOT drug test. And I said, I did. They don't know what a DOT drug test is. And so I put the recruiter or the paperwork person with CDL University on the phone with the nurse at Access Medical, and they found out that it's just a normal 5-panel drug test. Never going to Access Medical again. Like, my experience there wasn't bad. It's just that they have no idea about anything DOT stuff. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think they understand the sense of urgency on this stuff. Like if I Like, if I was working right now and my medical card was expired, I would just be out of work for a week while I'm waiting on them to do whatever they're doing. So anyway, I'm terrified right now that I'm gonna miss out on training days because of this, and I really don't want to find out that, like, Thursday or Friday, that I have to go back and start the whole process again and get a new drug test. I was tempted to just go down and get another medical done at Concentra today. Um, I kind of wish I would have, like, talked to them and let just seen if I could do it on lunch or something like that. It's only like $30, but I don't know. I'm being a little too trusting of Access Medical right now. Hopefully it comes in tomorrow. Tomorrow is supposedly day 5, so I've gotten a different answer every time I've called in and asked about it. Um, the last person I called today told me that the company that they send the thing off to do the test would send me the results directly. I'm like, that's not, like, what are you talking about? And, like, the person I talked to today had, like, everything they said was different than everything that anybody else previously had told me. But I've been told new stuff every time I've called in. Anyway, I'm starting to get mad right now, and I'm stressed. I'm frustrated dealing with Access Medical. Never, ever will I do anything with them again, ever. Like, my DOT medical thing that they did, their printer was so poor quality that you can barely read anything on my medical card. Like, there's just so many little issues with them. But, yeah, I'm not going to deal with that again. Hopefully this gets done and over with, and then I just put them on my list of don't mess with anything. So what's the other thing I wanted to talk about? So my drug test, terrified. Not that I'm going to fail, that it's going to happen. Like, am I ever going to get the results? What else? What else was there? I almost got rear-ended on the way to work today. I really don't talk about the the people that I encounter going back and forth to work. I think I've mentioned it before, that all of the bad drivers on the road make me sit here and question, should I really get into a profession where I'm going to be driving all the time? On the way to work today, this is at, like, probably 6:40 in the morning, 6:30, somewhere in that area. I'm going south on Hefner Parkway, and I'm in the middle lane, and it's a left lane exit about 2 miles down. Well, I see an opening in the left-hand lane. I'm like, oh, I'll go ahead and move over now while there's an opening, because the traffic was decent. It wasn't, like, really bad yet, but it was quite a few cars out there. So I put my indicator on. I wait 3 seconds, because the law is 3 seconds or 300 feet. After 3 seconds, I look over and make sure that, I've still got space to move over. Well, what had happened, as soon as when I looked over initially to see if there was space before I put my indicator on, there was plenty of room for me to move over. Probably, I would guess, 6 car lengths. And then I put my indicator on, and I'm about to use vulgar language again, the moron that was over in that left-hand lane did what most morons do. People drive like scared animals. They're so terrified that somebody's going to get something that they don't have, or get somewhere a second before them, or cut in line in front of them, or something else. What does he do? Instead of, making sure to give me space to move over, I put my indicator on, letting him know that I'm about to move over there, or he or she, I don't know. And they took it as a challenge, and they hit the accelerator. And I could see them speeding up, and I went ahead and did the lane change. They were about 2 car lengths behind me when I finished the lane change, and they continued accelerating until they were about an inch off my bumper. And then they decided to throw on their high beams and lay into their horn. Awesome people. Really awesome people. So when they threw on my high beams, it basically blinded me. I've got high beams coming in my rear view and my side view mirror, so I hit my brakes. I didn't lock up my brakes. I hit my brakes. I have a sports car, it has really good brakes. If I'd have locked up my brakes with as close as this person was to me, they would not have been able to stop from rear-ending me. When I did that, they backed off about 5 car lengths, and they flashed their high beams a couple more times after that, and I just maintained a safe following distance in front of me so that I wouldn't have to hit my brakes hard because of how close this person was following me. I don't get people. Like, I don't understand it. There was, it's like I could tell you these stories all day long. There was, going to and from work, there's always somebody doing something ridiculously stupid. There was something that happened on was it Northwest Expressway? I can't remember. I remember it was 3 lanes wide. Yeah, it was Northwest Expressway. Something happened over in the left-hand lane. There was this SUV that locked up their brakes in front of somebody. Like, they were in the middle lane, passed somebody in the left lane, locked up their brakes. They almost came to a complete stop. Then they sped up again, and then they started weaving through traffic, like swinging 3 lanes and then back over and just like weaving through cars. I think they got mad that somebody in the left lane was not going fast enough for them. And when they were finally able to get around them, they, road raged on them. And then they took off after they were able to do whatever they were doing. Like, there's so many bad drivers on the road, and like it's not just bad driving. These people have to have serious mental issues to be doing stupid stuff like this, and zero appreciation for how dangerous these vehicles are. Like, it is crazy. Positive note. The guy I was telling you about, or girl, like I said, I don't know if it's a he or she, the one that like tried to keep me from moving over and then nearly rear-ended me and threw on their high beams, was slamming on their horn at me. So I got into that left lane to make that left lane exit. Well, we made that left lane exit and we got onto I-40. And then I put on my indicator to move over to the right lane because I needed to make a right-hand exit about 2 or 3 miles down the road. And this thing's like 6 lanes wide, and I'm out in like the 5th lane. So I wanted to start edging towards the right so I could be, in the right lane by the time my exit came up. This person that nearly rear-ended me was flashing their high beams and all that stuff. They jumped over, like they jumped the median to get over into the right lane that I was wanting to get into. And whenever I put my indicator on, they made space for me. And they were like trying to be nice to let me over. I think they realized like how stupid they were. Like, I think they had some kind of self-reflection about like how ridiculous what they did was, and how like it had zero impact on anything. Like, I didn't delay them, or I don't know what they were thinking. But I think that they like calmed down a little bit and realized how dumb what they did was. That I get that a lot. I get people that do ridiculously stupid things around me all the time, and then a couple miles down the road, they're instead of being an inch off my bumper, they're driving at a safe distance, or they're using their indicator. They're like, okay, yeah, I was in the wrong there, type stuff. But I wish people would drive better. It is so dangerous on the road these days. Enforcement needs to be at so much better. Something needs to happen. I don't know. Like, it's just getting continuously worse. It was not this bad 15, 20 years ago. Like, it is, like, there's like a YouTube moment every time I'm going to or from work. Every day I see something that's YouTube worthy of somebody whipping through traffic, or road rage where they're running somebody off the road or something crazy, or trying to intimidate somebody by running up on them and slamming their brakes. It's it wasn't that bad 15, 20 years ago. It's getting worse. But class today. I can't think of the other topic I want to talk about, so we'll just do class today. Uh, what all did we do today? We went over sex trafficking. I mean, that's not a laughing matter, but uh, there's so much I need to learn, and I don't know. I guess it's worth it if it helps somebody. But um, we went over. All right, I was trying to remember things in order, so I'll just spout them out as I come to them. Hours of service. Hours of service is not easy to understand. The people in class had a really hard time wrapping their minds around hours of service, like the 11-hour driving, the 14-hour, um, on duty, the 70-hour, 8-day, the 34-hour restart they got. Well, kind of. Like, to give you an idea of like how I think, I don't know, most everybody in the class had really, 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 really bad issues with the hours of service. The instructor seemed to get a little frustrated because he went through probably 10 different scenarios on, like, how many hours can I drive after this scenario? How many driving hours do I have left? And I don't think we had a single scenario in like 10 where everybody got it right. I think I was the only one that got all of those right. Later on, though, I got one. Well, I kind of got one wrong. Like, he asked how many driving hours we had left, and I said a number, and then, like, a split second later, I said, "Oh, wait," and I corrected myself real quick. That was as close as I got to getting wrong, but I drove for 4 years. The hours of service rules we were going over were, the same stuff that I did 4 years ago, or 15 years ago. But so I should have known that stuff. But the people in the class had a hell of a time getting that stuff. There's a bunch of things that people started having issues with stuff today. Yesterday, I don't recall anybody having many issues with things. People started having issues today. I don't remember any other things. No, I don't. I might cut this video short. It might not be 30 minutes. Uh, Well, hell, I can't have a video under 30 minutes. I thought all my videos would be like 10 minutes. No, that's not the case. I just keep talking. I keep talking. And I know there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, there's a pause button. I'll tell you what. Rather than me sitting here and just talking in circles for 5 minutes, I'm going to hit the pause button and I'll come back when I think about it. All right, I remembered. I had two things. Don't let me forget. Number one was how much real previous driving experience people in the class have. And number two was money. How much money people make and how much they're wanting to make. Don't let me forget. Remind me. I'm counting on you. Don't let me down. So, as I pointed out yesterday, day one, at the beginning of the day, what people were talking about versus by the time we made it to the end of the day. What people were saying at that bravado thing I was talking about, the stories changed by the end of the day. It started out at the beginning of the day where, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and I got this going on, everything's great. And by the end of the day, we're all in the same boat. We're all unemployed and on the verge of bankruptcy, and except one guy. There's one guy in the class that is working a lot of hours. Still, he's still employed at his job. But that's kind of the story that changed today. More into that, people got to talking about like how much money they're hoping to make in trucking, and they're talking about really good jobs, and they're talking about, they heard about a good job where they can make $17 or $18 an hour, and I just left a job where I was making quite a bit more than that, so I didn't feel very comfortable really participating in those conversations. I didn't want to make them feel bad on anything, so I talked with them, but I didn't share my own personal experience because I didn't want to be like, oh, you're hoping to make that much? Oh, well, I just left a job making almost twice that. No, I didn't want to be in. Yeah, that's a total dick move. Sorry about the language. Wish there was a backup 15 seconds button here. I'm not editing anything. But that was it. People started talking about the jobs that they're hoping to get and things that they would like to do, but they're not in a situation to be able to do it. Everybody's starting to get a little bit more comfortable and open up a little bit more. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? What was it? Are you disappointing me? Did you remember? Are you going to make me pause it and try to think of it again? Oh man, let me hit the pause button. You let me down so much. Alright. You're a disappointment. I just want you to know that. I better get on this before I forget again, because I can't trust you to... I almost gave up. And just pushed the video out without talking about it, and I'm about to forget what it is again. I better go ahead and start. Can't trust you with anything. Experience. Goes back to the whole bravado thing. Did I already talk about experience? Yeah, it's well, so there was the pay, and then their expectations, what they're wanting to get into, and the other was their previous experience. So yesterday, they were talking. I think I started talking about this, and then I got off topic because I remember saying this. Yesterday, they were doing all that, talking about how much, stuff they did, and by the end of the day, their stories changed. Well, today, I think I mentioned that this is the all-star class. Everybody has previous driving experience. Well, all of a sudden today, no one has previous driving experience. People are starting to get more comfortable, and they're being a little more honest. So I think it's going to be a more interesting driving on Thursday, if I'm even able to, if my drug test comes in. The driving on Thursday is going to be a lot more interesting than expected, because come to find out, none of these guys have driven a semi before. Everyone had an excuse today to explain what they meant by, oh, they'd driven trucks before, and basically they had driven a manual before, not like a they driven synced manuals, not unsynced manuals, like a semi where you have to double clutch and stuff like that. And they haven't driven anything with a splitter. Basically, they've just driven a regular manual transmission, like in a normal personal vehicle. And they've driven small commercial trucks, nothing with a trailer. Basically, they had driven some kind of pickup truck. I But I think everyone today admitted that they'd never driven, a tractor trailer before. But so yeah, people are the class is coming together better. Like everybody was pretty friendly on day one, but I think everybody was kind of on guard. It's kind of like prison or first day of school or something. Everybody's got their tough guy face on, and they're afraid that if they show any weakness, they're gonna get taken advantage of or something. I don't know. That's the way it was the first day. It seemed like everybody's starting to relax a little bit now. I tried to create a little front row rivalry. It's me and Keith on the front row, and on the last test we did, I was harassing Keith because he missed probably the easiest question on the test because he didn't fully read the question. And I was like, man, you ruined it. Because the back row, they didn't score too well on the test. And I was like, we almost had a front row lockout on that test. We almost both scored 100. And you ruined it because you just, you disappointed me, Keith. you just didn't even finish reading the sentence. So it's all good. Good group of people. Everybody's pretty nice. One of the people in class was late today because of traffic. I don't know. I get there an hour early because I don't want to deal with traffic. Even leaving, classes, for the first 3 days is 8 to 5. They've been letting us out an hour early every day, though. So we've been leaving at 4. But I get there at 7 because I just don't want to, right around 7, somewhere between 7:05 and 7:15, the interstate's just become a parking lot. Even at 6:30 in the morning, whenever I'm driving there, traffic is pretty heavy. But it's not like stop and go heavy. It's just fairly heavy traffic that's moving pretty good. It's all right. We're at 32 minutes. Speaking of disappointment, Josh, I appreciate the comment, but you forgot to thumbs up. I got 1 thumbs up out of you. All right. Thanks for watching the videos. Have a good one.